Adulting for Dummies 2015.
It's time for another exciting round of What's Your Problem? Featuring your host, Mercy Calamity.
Hey, all right. How's it going, everybody? I'm your host, Mercy Calamity, and we're here to pick our contestants on What's Your Problem? The show where we dive into your quarter-life crisis.
Wah, wah.
Our first contestant hails from hell, Arizona, Zachary Joe.
Welcome, Zachary.
It's just Z, bruh.
Okay.
Our next contestant hails from Disco, Tennessee, Jessica Johnson.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Go ahead.
And finally, from Barrington, Illinois, Kyle Devonshire.
What up, Kyle?
All right, Kyle. Welcome and nice to meet you. Now, I've just got one question for you. Are you ready to play What's Your Problem?
Whatever.
David works in logistics.
He is very logical. Such a good student. And he has so many interests.
David has a timeline. Ding!
For example,
By age 24, I'd like to own my own car.
That's exactly what happened.
Like he went out and bought a car when he was 24.
and that's what makes him so interesting to me.
He's the sweetest, most even-keeled guy.
Aww, he treats her so well.
I love spending time with him more than anyone in the world. We've been dating 5 years.
And we've always been able to talk through the sort of conflicts that any relationship goes through.
Except this conflict.
Around the time I began my junior year of college, I heard cautionary tales from people who were younger than I and almost already out. Oh, you're so lucky you're still in school.
They'd say wistfully with a hint of contempt.
And then, of course, the tone of the conversation would shift, and it was as if these friends and I were on a sinking ship in the remote and stormy waters of the Pacific.
And there was only one more seat left on the lifeboat.
And they were dying of cholera, and we had already eaten the other three.
And by this point, it made sense for me to save myself, and then I'd hear them say, "Stay in school as long as you can!" Okay, my little minions, don't worry about me. I will be just fine.
You think the slings and arrows of the real world don't apply to you?
The chances of you waking up with a missing kidney and a bathtub full of ice seems more likely then.
The chances of you being severely unhappy after you graduate.
Fast forward a year, I began to hear myself saying similar things and horrifying phrases to people who were younger than I.
Just like some cliched after-school special.
Appreciate your time in college. Enjoy it while it lasts.
According to the New York Times on September 19th, 2014, it's taking each successive generation longer and longer to reach adulthood.
Over the past 5 decades,
College is more expensive now than ever.
Contraception allows you to choose when to have children. Yes!
lengthening the amount of time it takes to prepare for adulthood.
Therein lies the problem. Prolonged adolescence has created the quarter-life crisis. Everyone is looking around and saying,
I'm sure everyone else has got it more put together than I do.
I'm sure I'll have it figured out by the time I'm 30.
I'm sure we'll all look back at this one day and laugh, right?
I'm sure I'm not completely alone.
And you're not.
Through the articles found in Slate magazine on June 4th, 2012, the New York Times on September 19th, 2014, and National Public Radio on October 7th, 2014.
The books Fuck, I'm in My 20s by Emma Koenig, Adulting by Kelly Williams Brown, In Between Places by Mary Kate Frank, and 20-something Manifesto by Christine Hassler
The blogs, 25 signs you're having a quarter-life crisis by Paul Angoni. BuzzFeed's 10 signs you're having a quarter-life crisis by Jessica Meisner.
Music by Mark Ronson. Lyrics by Arman Rahman. And an essay by Annie Sauter.
We will explore prolonged adolescence and the quarter-life crisis it's creating for 20-somethings everywhere in Adulting for
Dummies.
All right, welcome back, folks, and now it's time to meet some of our contestants. Kyle, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I work at Starbucks, I'm in crippling debt, and...
All right, thanks so much. And what about you, Jessica?
Well, I'm 25 and I just moved in with my boyfriend, and I'm going to focus my degree in chemistry.
All right, thanks so much. And what about you, Zebra? Zachary?
Just Zebra, yeah, right. Well, I have a new job and learning the ropes in my office. And by the way, I got 2 sweet roommates.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you've got everything put together, so I guess I just gotta ask, what is your problem?
Oh, you see, like this one roommate, when I forget to do the laundry, she doesn't do it, and I'm like, Mom!
Oh.
And then my dad,
There it is. All right, thank you so much. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen, as we watch our contestants struggle to keep their heads above water while going through financial uncertainty, relationship limbo, and career upheavals. They might be in the midst of their quarter-life crisis, but we're just getting started on What's Your Problem?
Here's where it started. We were sitting on our couch,
And they're spacious 2-room apartments.
and I see that on Facebook.
Yet another one of their mutual friends has gotten engaged.
God, it's like everyone we know is either getting married or having babies.
Yeah. I mean, we're getting to that point in our lives now. I definitely see myself with kids in 5 years.
Wait, what? I didn't know you wanted kids. Definitely didn't know you wanted kids within 5 years. David, we are not even married.
I know, but my timeline looks like this. I want to be married in 3 years and have kids in 5.
To me?
What?
Do you want to be married to me?
I should hope so.
Okay, but what about my timeline? I don't even know if I want a kid. Do you know how hard it is to raise a baby? You can't just rent one and then return it when you're done.
Actually, you can.
This might be the biggest sign of all that you're having your very own
Quarter-life crisis.
You know, you can't help thinking that this isn't exactly where you pictured yourself to be.
At 23?
25.
or 30.
You know, maybe you don't have a significant other.
You don't. Oh,
Maybe you're not exactly at your dream job.
And maybe you keep fighting with that roommate over who gets to do the dishes. It's your turn. You never do anything.
sure. You were never a white picket fence kind of person.
But you thought that you'd at least have some of your shit together by now.
Instead, you have papajohns.com bookmarked on your browser.
Ding dong.
Yay.
And a half-hearted Tinder habit.
Forget Batman, Superman, and Spider-Man. I'm gonna be your man.
If you were an angle, you'd be a cute one.
Top 10 signs you're having a quarter-life crisis. 1. When is life gonna feel like it's supposed to? It's something you ask yourself every day.
2. You're reading this article because you sadly Googled quarter-life
Quarter-life
crisis.
3. Visualizing yourself doing your boss's job 15 years from now makes you throw up in your mouth.
4. You're having these arguments with your new spouse or roommate that sound a lot like the arguments that your parents used to have that you swore you would never have, but you're still having.
5. You've had 6 jobs in the last 4 years.
You've had 6 boyfriends in the last 4 years.
You've had no girlfriends or boyfriends in the last 4 years, and you're starting to think that maybe your boyfriending or your girlfriending is broken.
7. Your part-time temporary job at Starbucks has lasted 3.5 years. Careful, it's holidays. 8. Making a budget is completely debilitating.
Even thinking about doing taxes, debilitating.
Buying groceries, debilitating.
Doing dishes, cooking dinner, calling your mom back, calling your best friend back, picking up the phone at all.
Debilitating.
I mean, you dream about going back and punching your smug college self in the face, who was pretty sure he had all the answers.
10. You really don't know where to get all the answers.
Yes, you're 99.7% sure a road trip would fix everything.
You see, son, the truth is graduating from college is just like any other landmark rite of passage.
Like losing one's virginity.
Huh?
And Kathy!
But then, when it happens, isn't it just the simple awareness of being in that moment?
I mean, it's not that scary or crazy.
It just kind of
Is.
However, what I anticipated would happen to me when I graduated from college
Was the equivalent of becoming
the Red Power Ranger! It's morphin' time!
My impressions did not fully prepare me for the
WTF?
madness that I was living in.
So, I'm in my 20s now.
And it really sucks.
3 days later, a big brown box arrived at the apartment.
I peeled off the tape and opened the flaps and saw red like beady eyes staring up at me.
It was a baby!
Oh, not like a dead baby or anything.
He was a robot baby.
Plastic robot baby.
We named him Zebulon.
And Zebby was our baby for 3 days.
I inserted 4 AA batteries into his back.
You know, like you would with a real baby.
And he began to scream his loud. You know, that is just how the weird-ass robot baby do.
We had to carry this thing around with us in public.
Because we had committed to going apple picking with my best friend.
She was so Flanagan.
Alright, welcome back, folks, and now it's time to jump right into our questions. Question 1. What was the biggest crisis of your young life?
My mom made me eat spinach.
Barney was canceled.
Tickle Me Elmo spoke to me at night.
Actually, the answer is when Boy Meets World ended. Question 2. What can you find on the job postings of Craigslist?
Jobs that don't pay enough.
Jobs get you caught with hookers.
Jobs that drive you insane.
Actually, unless you want an apprenticeship under a Ukrainian dog baiter, you'll find absolutely nothing good.
That's hot.
And question 3. What do you owe your parents?
Aha!
A nice dinner?
A grandchild? No.
Actually, on average, you owe them about $245,000.
How did this happen?
How did I join the ranks of the post-collegiate disenchanted?
Perhaps it came down to my tragic character flaw.
The inability to live in the moment. When I was in middle school, I wanted to be in high school.
When I was in high school, I wanted to be in college.
I was in college. I just wanted to be starting my
And
career.
once I got there, I just wanted to give up and begin
Phase 2. When all
My dreams.
came true.
ASAP, bitches!
I could have sworn that during freshman orientation, the dean said,
As soon as you get your diplomas, a genie will appear.
And grant you infinite wishes!
You know, now that I think of it, I may have misheard him because I was busy texting. And now that I gotta think of that guy on the subway that always yells, "College is alive!" actually knows what he's talking about.
Yes, boys and girls, I've come to realize that everything I thought I knew about phase 2 was wrong.
Very wrong.
Oh, how wrong I was.
We arrived at the mud parking lot of the orchard when Seamus.
Go talk to the car and lick a cigarette.
Got out of the car and we covered him with a blanket so that
People thought there was a real baby under there.
I walked a little bit slower and with more caution than David and Seamus.
Oh, it was really, really nice, you know. Just her and Zed.
Started to notice that I was unintentionally doing this weird bouncing motion, and then when I looked up, I saw the most unbelievably gorgeous, put together mom. She was like Pinterest.
Yeah.
And she looked my age. She also had the baby strapped to her front. She looked at me as if to say,
We are in this together.
and I started to cry because I realized that we aren't in this together. I wanted to so badly just unstrap Zebulon and hold him out and say, no, he's fake. But if he were real, of course I would have connected with you. But I'm not a mother. But if I were, I'd want to be like you. You know, I'd want to look at my baby the way you look at yours. I want to love my baby, but not hate my wife. I want to be you.
I couldn't tell if I was like overreacting in my current situation.
Is everyone else's places punch with their 20s?
Was I insane for experiencing it this way?
Did my mother obsessively read the bell jar to me when I was in utero?
What was wrong with me?
Now, some of you might say,
Just get over it.
Nobody cares.
and to those people I say,
Oh, really?
Is that so?
I mean, sure, maybe you have a point.
Maybe I should come up with wittier retort.
and maybe you yourself are even in your 20s. If so,
Fuck you! I mean, congrats, but bro, have some compassion for those of us who haven't yet reached enlightenment phase yet.
What are you, an animal?
Guys, I'm still waiting for the things that were promised to me in the movies.
You know, my looks have never stopped traffic.
I've never inspired a slow clap.
I've never burst out in song.
Stop! Wait a minute. Empty room, need a patient. Got no time, flip the shit. Need a girl with some cash, go to college. Grad school, got an internship with no money. If I sleep in, I'ma lose my job. Faster than Gonzalez speed. I'm too poor, hot damn. I'm all but unemployed, man. I'm too poor, hot damn. Cause my dad out of retirement. I'm too poor, hot damn, hot damn. My diet is ramen. I'm too poor, hot damn. And my bank statements are pretty freaking down. Girls say they won't date me. Ooh.
Guys say that I'm crazy.
Ooh, mom and dad say I'm lazy, and I just say hold up a minute, cause I gotta catch my breath a bit. This ain't how I wanted it. Saturday night I don't got a date. I'm so done with this shit. Ow! Okay. One of the most jolting days of adulthood comes the time you run out of toilet paper. You know, toilet paper. Up to this point,
Always just.
it existed, and it wasn't a finite resource constantly in danger of extinction that must be tracked and monitored. It's not just the toilet paper, though. There are so many tiny, endless details to attend to.
Food does not spontaneously manifest itself in the fridge.
Gross things like overflowing toilets.
And dead squirrels on your porch.
Are on your shoulders.
Nobody else is going to remove that spider, which is biding its time in the shower until it lays eggs in your ears.
The half-empty beer cans will release foul-smelling gases until you choose to recycle them.
But now, the good news! Billions and billions of people manage to live in a home without killing themselves. Or others. And chances are, you're one of them. There isn't an adult on this earth who hasn't felt the deep, unsettling feeling that their life is wobbly and unimaginable. You know, this is perpetuated by the popular though incorrect, perception that you're surrounded by people who have their lives together. We jealously look around at others and say, why you and not me? But don't stress out.
We believe that you can do it.
Especially if you follow these rules.
Step 1, buy toilet paper in bulk.
Oh yeah.
Step 2, find a deep sea of insincerity to be sort of nice to the people you dislike.
That's a good idea.
Thanks so much.
Step 3, get a nice, actual bed.
Step 4, most things that feel like an emergency are not actually an emergency.
I broke a nail!
Bro, I just ran out of protein.
Oh my god, Zane just left One Direction!
This is not an actual bed.
Step 5, don't compare your successes to anyone else's failures.
And step 6. 3. This too shall pass.
A few days later, David and I plopped down next to our chain-smoking couples therapist, Nancy.
So, Andy, David, how'd your little experiment go? All right, let's get down to it. Andy, has you changed your mind, or do you still feel like denying the good David here a real chance at fatherhood?
Oh, come on, Nancy. I could never ask David to do something like this. So why is it what David wants stands? Have you asked him if he's considered a life without children? Because I guarantee that he hasn't. It's not fair. And I know it's totally blasphemous, but I'm going to do what I want to do instead of feeling forced to do something. It's my life, and it is no longer anyone's decision but my own.
You two are beyond help.
They didn't talk for a few days, but then one morning,
When I woke up, I found a note on the table that said,
I freaked out because of my age and my ridiculous timeline. I lost sight of the life that we have, and you're right. I have a lot of thinking to do. I'm sorry I'm so selfish and stupid. I mean, I love your career and your independence. I love you. You are more than enough, and I shouldn't have ever made you feel otherwise. I know this note probably doesn't make anything better, but I guess I just want you to know that we have all the time in the world to figure this out.
before I began this journey of adulthood, I was so anxious to step out and beyond the boundaries of adolescence and cross into an exciting new world of freedom. Yeah, just like our forefathers promised. But now I've gotten my life and some liberty, but I'm pursuing unhappiness. I'm overwhelmed. How will I pay my rent?
How can I put food on the table?
How will I sleep at night knowing that I am all alone?
All right, and we're on to our final 3 questions. Zachary, why don't you come down stage?
Sure.
All right. At what age do you plan to actually move out of your parents' basement?
Oh. Well, I'm slowly paying off my loan debt, and I just got promoted, so I've only got like $80,000 left to go. Big deal, right? No, but I think I can move out in maybe 7 years.
All right, thanks so much. And Jessica, come on down stage. And what are your plans after you graduate?
Well, I'm not really sure when I'm going to be completing my master's. In order to get a job or in order to afford my apartment, I might have to look at jobs outside my major. If I don't get a doctorate, I might complete it on time.
Thanks so much. And finally, Kyle, come on down stage. When do you think your band is really gonna make it?
Well, we are slowly building our music repertoire. Okay, we only have like 3 songs so far, but we think that we can drop an album in a year or so, play a few gigs after that, and that it can't be long until the record company notices us and gives us a contract. I don't want to work at Starbucks forever. No?
Thanks so much. Actually, everyone, the answer we were looking for is... There doesn't need to be a set time to do anything. Everyone's situation is different. College loans now can be really debilitating. And a college education doesn't guarantee a well-paying job. But you don't need to follow anyone's guide for when you're supposed to hit certain milestones. Focus on what you can do, and not what you can't control. It's your life.
It's my life.
It's my life.
It's my life.
And that means
We get to choose how to live it.
live it.